Yep.
Okay, what we're going to go over is the K1 Home Platinum Series, and the reason why we call it the Home Platinum Series, even though a lot of the equipment here is professional, this was set up for basically higher end home use, where the customer wants to have that feeling like they went out to a karaoke bar, and they want better quality than your standard entry level. For demonstration purposes, we have a certain laptop here. It depends on which system it is and what the customer wants, whether they want to utilize a laptop or they have their own laptop. Same thing with the TV screen, that's just for demonstration purposes, although depending on which system you're looking at, it will have different things in it. But the core package that surrounds this series is the RSQ DKA-800R II mixing amplifier that also has a built-in recorder and a built-in MP3 player. Then you have the two Audio 2000 AWM6112 dual rechargeable UHF wireless microphones. So a total of 4 wireless microphones come with the system. You have the two Peavey PVX12 passive speakers, speaker cables, speaker stands, the windscreens, and different accessories that go with it, including the mic patch cables, remote controls, and so forth. On this particular system, as mentioned earlier, you have the Peavey PVX12s, and basically what that does is it's the same thing someone's going to use in a professional setting. It's definitely superior to your entry-level systems. Give you an example, we have another system that's featured, if you look through all our systems, and it has the smaller compact Audio 2000 speakers. We could clearly say that there's a big difference between the two. And it's just one of those things that you get what you pay for. You have to look at all the things that come with it. You'll have some systems that concentrate on solely the quality, and others that mix up the quality along with getting a lot for your money, meaning a lot of different accessories or bells and whistles. Even though this video does not show the speaker stands mentioned earlier, that does come with the system. Now I'm going to go over each individual component. We'll start with the speakers. The speakers are ABS construction. They have really tough grills. Unlike a lot of speakers, you really can't do that to a speaker without actually denting it. So this is really tough. It's also one of the most sold speakers pretty much in the world. In fact, this is the new version. The old version used to be the Peavey PR series, which that's the one that was the most sold speaker in the world. The PVX is just the new edition where they have a much better cabinet, but they're still utilizing the same components that they did before. And on the back of the speaker, there are two inputs. We're utilizing a 1/4 inch input here, but there's also a speak-on input. And the reason why I went with the 1/4 inch is because we're also using banana clips to go into the karaoke amplifier. If this had been a different amplifier, we would have used the other input. Then you look at your dual wireless microphones. Basically it just has, you screw on the antennas, power up. This is the AC power. You have two patch cables that feed into the amplifier. You have your windscreens, and the windscreens, the advantage of having a windscreen is, let's say you're outside and there's wind. It minimizes the wind, it also minimizes the moisture, and also when you pronunciate certain syllables like the popping of the P's and so forth, that will minimize that. You'll notice that it has 2 channels, and you'll notice when it's on the bass, it's charging. You'll notice when you turn it on, you'll see the AF level. Check 1, 2.
1, 2. 1, 2. 1, 2. 1, 2. 1, 2. 1, 2. 1, 2. 1, 2. 1, 2. 1, 2. 1, 2. 1, 2. 1, 2. 1, 2. 1, 2. 1, 2. 1, 2. 1, 2. 1, 2. 1, 2. 1, 2. 1, 2. 1, 2. 1, 2. 1, 2. 1, 2. 1, 2. 1, 2. 1, 2. 1, 2. 1, 2. 1, 2. 1, 2. 1, 2. 1, 2. 1, 2. 1, 2. 1, 2. 1, 2. 1, 2. 1, 2. 1, 2. 1, 2. 1, 2. 1, 2. 1, 2. 1, 2. 1, 2. 1, 2. 1, 2. 1, 2. 1, 2. 1, 2. 1, 2. 1, 2. 1, 2. 1, 2. 1, 2. 1, 2. 1, 2. 1,
And you always make sure you set it in there and you watch this to make sure that it's sitting down. Because if you don't put that in right, see how I turned it around? No matter how much I push it down, it's not gonna connect. So you wanna make sure that you have it facing forward so it charges. The main volume knobs, you set them once, you're done. If you think of a clock, it's basically right around 11 o'clock. So both of them are set like that. You just turn it on. You look at these two wires, same thing with the other wireless over here. It feeds to 4 separate cables that's going to go ahead and separate the sound. Typically, these microphones come with a single cable that runs both, but this is a much better way to run it. So I have 1, 2, 3, and then a 4th one in the back. Your 3rd and 4th and 5th microphone runs off the same jack, so they have the same volume. So when you look at the amplifier from right to left, you have your main volume knobs. This is your master music volume, so you're going to control your music here. Then you're going to control your music tone here, which is your balance, bass, and treble. Then over here is your MP3 section. What this does is if you have a thumb drive and you want to go ahead and plug in a thumb drive that has regular music, you go ahead and plug that in and you go ahead and play it. If you want to record singers, right now you'll see that I have it in MP3 mode, and that's where the cable is plugged up, which comes up to this laptop for the audio. So you have a dual RCA plugged in the back where it says MP3, and the other end, which is an 1/8" jack, is plugged right into the front of the laptop. It depends on the type of laptop that you have, where the connection could be. And then you also look at the this particular system comes with an HDMI cable, so they'll run it to the video. Going back to the amplifier, if you plug in a thumb drive or an SD card and you want to record, you have that plugged in, you press record, you wait for it to recognize it because it's going to have a delay, and then you go ahead and initiate your karaoke music once it's recording, and then you stop it once you're done, and then you could replay it. You could take the thumb drive, load it to your computer, you could burn it to a disk and so forth. Then you have your main microphone volume, which is pretty much set. You also have an echo volume, which I set that as well. And then you have your adjustments here. You could adjust the echo. If you look at this, there's a delay and a repeat. That's a little bit better than your standard digital echo because it's allowing you to change the depth of it. So the reason why I have the delay so far up is, if you think about it, if you just have an echo and it just keeps going repeating, the more you increase the delay, it's basically compressing it, so it's a nice echo that is just a quick spring basically. Then you have your highs, mids, and lows for the echo as well. And then you have your microphone levels. You'll see that I have them low, and you could adjust those further. Even if you're in a larger space and you feel like you want to turn up the mic volume, you could do that, but you want to watch as you go up higher, you're going to introduce more electronic noise. So keeping it down and adjusting it here is probably the best way. Then over here, this particular system, even though it didn't come with the laptop cooler, this one is for this particular customer, and you basically just plug in the fan in the USB. Once again, if you look at the back of the wireless microphones, one end is 1/4 inch, which we talked about in the front of the amplifier, and the other is what's called a female XLR, and it just plugs right into the back of the receiver. Now, if we could go to the back here just a little bit, I'm going to close this just so we could see what the back looks like. As far as hooking this up, I did go out of the one receiver to a power strip, but the back of this actually has 3 power cords, so you could actually plug right into the back. And your speaker cables, you have the ability to run 4 speakers. Right now it's running 2. You'll notice that there's black and white. Sometimes you'll have a speaker cable that's black and red. You always want to make sure that you match up the black with the black. You also want to make sure that these are clamped down. If for any reason at a later point you don't have this, you still have the bare wire. And that's what this is for. You can unscrew this, put the bare wire in here, and then clamp it back down and you'll be able to use it. Now on the back of the amplifier here, we mentioned that I have this going from the CD MP3, that's going to the laptop. There's also an additional cable with this particular system, and there again you have to read the details of any ad we have to see actually what comes with it. Another dual to 1/8 inch cable where you can plug it up right next here and just change the source in the front of the amplifier to go back and forth. Here's your 4th microphone that we talked about, and you can put that in number 4. You'll also notice a section right here. This is a subwoofer section, so if you have a powered subwoofer, you could hook it up right here. You really won't be doing dual channel, but if you had 2 subs, you could go 1 to one sub, 1 to the other sub, and it allows you, it has a built-in crossover so you can control the frequency, the level, and the amount of bass. So then you also have different inputs back here as well for other things. And that's pretty much it as far as the hookup. It's pretty simplistic. The differences between some of the systems that you see that we have that's built into cases versus component. I'll give you the pros and cons of that. When you have a component system, you save money because you're not spending money on a case, you're not spending money on a power surge protection, screws, rack kits, various things that are involved in actually building the system. When you have components, now you're dealing with less money that you spent, so you could concentrate your money more on the quality. But the disadvantage to it, it may not even be a disadvantage to some people, but you'll notice all the wires on the table. That's not a bad thing, but for people that do it professionally, a lot of times they're willing to spend a little more money to have it professionally racked in a system, so it's more of a plug and play. And that's pretty much it on the system. There are different things that you could do with it. We'll go over everything in detail.